Ah, good afternoon, everybody. Let me see. Yeah, I'm on. Okay. Um, so I was reminded by a little video, a short video that I was watching, that a 16-year-old is being held in prison by Israel for no apparent reason. He is from Florida and he's been in there, not sure how long, but I'm going to go look at the article. I'm surprised I found one. I'm surprised I found it. Um, and a senator has gotten wind of it. That's where I saw the short video, and I'm wondering why isn't anybody doing about this? Why doesn't the president talk about this? Why hasn't he addressed it? And what is going on with this craziness? I gotta share the screen. Okay. All right. So that's a picture of him. I believe he is Muslim. Okay. And is that why nobody's doing anything here? This is crazy. Okay. There's no apparent reason for this 16-year-old to be held. I believe it is in a military prison. So I am going to go to here. Let me see. I don't know if I can get that article. Here's one. Let me see if I can get this. A Florida teenager is in an Israeli prison. Why his family and advocates say he should be released. Can you believe this? A 16-year-old. This is crazy. This photo, undated in an unknown location, provided by family member Zayed Kadur, shows teenager Mohammed Ibrahim. This doesn't seem to end. St. Petersburg, Florida. A Florida family already grieving the beating death of a 20-year-old relative is now pleading with U.S. leaders to help free the dead man's cousin, oh boy, a 16-year-old Palestinian American from Florida who has been held in an Israeli prison for 8 months. Relatives, advocacy groups, and some Congress members have been seeking the release of Mohammed Ibrahim since he was taken into custody when he was 15 by the Israeli military in February. Mohammed's 20-year-old cousin, Safola Musalet, was beaten to death by settlers in the West Bank village of Al Mazra, earlier this year. So there are settlers in the West Bank that go around with clubs and what is going on? That are just waiting for people to show up, I guess, in the area, and they kill them, or they beat them half to death, and probably just leave them there. This is like terrorism. This is all terrorism. This is what the Israelis are doing that mainstream media doesn't want you to know. This is really about two American sisters, one who just buried her son and her older sister going to give her support and also praying that her son doesn't join the club of Americans killed overseas, said Mohammed's uncle. They're going through this together. And I did a couple of videos now, live videos. I've done some info on Laura Loomer, and she doesn't say anything about these things. She says nothing. She's absolutely nothing. She talks about the Muslim Brotherhood being a terrorist organization, but she doesn't talk about what the Israelis are doing in the West Bank and in Gaza to the Palestinians. That she doesn't say anything about. She doesn't want anybody to know what is really going on and what a bunch of thugs these people really are. I'm talking about the Israelis and the Zionists. It's basically made our family numb, said Kamal Musalit, Safala's father and Mohammed's uncle. I've been over 3 months It's been over 3 months, and there's not a day me and my wife don't cry. That's terrible. Jailed while visiting family. Mohammed of Palm Bay, Florida, was visiting family in the West Bank with his parents in February, according to the Council on American Islamic Relations. He was arrested on February 15 at a family home in their village near Ramallah for allegedly throwing rocks at Israeli settlers in the West Bank, according to the group and several members of Congress. So he probably didn't do a damn thing. And yet he's being accused of throwing rocks. But, Israeli settlers in the West Bank can go around killing people. This is what is happening with the Palestinians. Concerning Israel and Gaza. Israel's military has conducted regular arrest raids in the West Bank during the Israel-Hamas war, taking unprecedented numbers of Palestinians into prisons where inmates have reported poor treatment and conditions. Israel says the mass arrests are to root out militancy, but civilians and stone throwers have been caught up in the raids, and Palestinian Americans like Mohammed have been among them. Israel treats stone throwers as militants, while Palestinians widely see the practice as legitimate resistance to Israeli occupation. Again, nothing is said about the Zionists, about what is going on in Gaza and concerning the American citizens. Laura Loomer is going to make sure that the Muslim Brotherhood will be designated as a foreign terrorist organization. But concerning the practices of what Israel is doing to the Palestinians and to Americans or American Palestinians is uncalled for. Again, nothing is mentioned about what Israel is doing to the people in the West Bank. And, this poor kid, 16 now, he was arrested. I mean, this is really unbelievable. And nobody's done anything about it. Our government, this is just sick. It's sickening. Israel treats stone throwers. Okay, I read that right. The teen could get up to 20 years in prison for the alleged offense, for which his supporters say there is scant evidence. In an affidavit provided by Kaddour, Mohammed is documented as telling his Palestinian lawyer that he was assaulted by Israeli soldiers using rifle butts when he was arrested, and only confessed to stone throwing after he was threatened by interrogators with another beating. Initially, I refrained from confessing, but the interrogator threatened if I did not comply, he would instruct the soldiers to beat me. Out of sheer fear, I ultimately confessed, the affidavit quotes the teen as saying. Family says they have been kept in the dark. More than 100 U.S. faith-based human rights and civil rights organizations have sent a joint letter to Secretary of State Marco Rubio urging action to obtain Mohammed's release. In addition, in a letter sent Tuesday to Rubio and the U.S. ambassador to Israel, Mike Huckabee, 15 U.S. senators, and 12 U.S. representatives said they have grave concern over Mohammed's situation. They urged Rubio and Huckabee to intervene by engaging the Israeli government directly to secure the swift release of this American boy. No, but Mike Huckabee can go to Israel on our dime and meet with a traitor to this country. But he can't go and release a 16-year-old, an American one at that, who's being held in prison for what? Has anybody tried to do anything to get this kid out of that prison in Israel? Musalat said that Huckabee visited the family in July following his son's death, raising their hopes that Mohammed would be released. We said, Alhamdulillah, at least some good has come out of it, and Mohammed was going to come out of prison, Musalat said. using an Arabic phrase, giving praise to God, and 3.5 months later, still nothing. Mohammed's family has been barred by the Israeli military from direct contact with their son since his arrest and has relied on sporadic reports about his condition at Israel's Megiddo and Offer prisons from the U.S. Embassy in Israel, his advocates say. We hope he knows we're doing everything we can to get him out, said Zahir Ibrahim, Mohammed's father. Kadur said Mohammed, who turned 16 while in prison, was abducted in the middle of the night and handcuffed and blindfolded. For his parents, the last time they saw their son was when he was thrown in the back of a Jeep in February. He's not even an adult, the teen's uncle said. He's a minor, and in our eyes as a family, we also believe he's a hostage because a 15-year-old taken from his bedroom at gunpoint, blindfolded and handcuffed doesn't describe the word prisoners. Abysmal conditions described in Israel prisons. These things you do not hear from mainstream media. President Trump hasn't said anything about it. Mike Huckabee, who is the who is the ambassador of Israel, hasn't done anything about it either. This is a disgrace. It really is. It really, really is. This is pathetic. While President Trump is concerned about making sure that the Muslim Brotherhood is a designated foreign domestic terrorist group. I don't understand any of this. This is so wrong. It really is. Abysmal conditions. In the affidavit provided to the family by his lawyer, the teen said that cells are overcrowded, with some prisoners sleeping on mattresses on the floor, according to the affidavit. Mohammed has lost weight and suffered a scabies infection, according to reports from the U.S. Embassy. His health, mentally and physically, are a big question for the family, Kadur said. In April, a teenager from the West Bank who was held for 6 months without charge in Megiddo prison, where Mohammed spent time, became the first Palestinian under 18 to die in Israeli detention, collapsing in the prison's yard. It really is. Defense for Children International Palestine, whose lawyer met with Mohammed, said inmates at Offer are given meager portions of food at breakfast and lunch, no dinner and no fresh fruit. Showers are provided, but for a short time for a group of prisoners and not enough, and not everyone gets a shower, the group said. Mohammed's mother and father remain in the West Bank, hoping to return to the U.S. With him, the group said, adding that they fear if they leave, Israel will not let them return. Israel's military, police, and Shin Bet domestic security agency did not respond to AP requests for comment about Mohammed's case. The Israel Prison Service said it does not comment on individual inmates or provide information regarding their identity, and so on. The U.S. State Department said in a statement that it is tracking Mohammed's case closely and working with the Israeli government on the matter. It said it had no further comment due to privacy and other concerns. Among the Palestinians apprehended during Israel's West Bank raids, some are released within days, but others, including teens, have been held without charge or trial for months. Other Americans have faced extended Israeli military detention, and at least 4 Palestinian Americans have been killed by the Israeli military or settlers since the war started. And Laura Loomer wants to make sure that the Muslim Brotherhood gets designated as a terrorist group, because they're the ones, according to her, in a post that she had on her X account, they're the ones going around killing Americans. I don't know, specifically Qatar is going around killing Americans. I don't know of any Qataris that have killed Americans, but for sure Israel has. For sure. Israel captured the West Bank along with East Jerusalem and the Gaza Strip in the 1967 Mideast War. The Palestinians seek those territories for a future independent state. At Offa prison, where Mohammed is currently held, detainees who spoke to the AP have reported meager rations of food, overcrowding, and regular beatings by guards. The teen's affidavit says he spent the first month of his incarceration being interrogated in Offa camp. a facility Israel's military developed during the war to house Gaza detainees that has drawn criticism for inhumane conditions. Kador, the teen's uncle, said he doubted other American citizens would be treated this way. I have to ask the question to our elected officials on any level. If his name wasn't Mohammed, if he wasn't Palestinian American, would he still be there? Kador said, good question. The real question is, why is a 16-year-old starved and with a skin infection still there instead of back home going to a football game or getting his driver's permit? Oh my God. Are they really trying to do something about this kid and getting him released from an Israeli military prison? A 16-year-old who turned 16 in prison with no trial, no nothing. A 16-year-old. Does anybody know about this? I mean, in the news. I mean, does mainstream media say anything about this? No, of course not. No, of course not. But you have the Zionists like Laura Loomer and others that are going around talking about how great Israel is and how we're supposed to give them money because it says so in the Bible. Because they're God's chosen people. This is what God's chosen people do to Palestinians. This is, I mean, how does she even have an account? Why hasn't it even been taken down? Her account is a joke. Okay. As a matter of fact, well, let me go there. This is her account right now, right? And I talked about it this morning. And I mean, she's got several posts on the Muslim Brotherhood. And here it is. He's looking into it. President Trump is looking into it. And this is what she said. This is what somebody else said that reposted about Qatar and Turkey really being the issue for the Muslim brotherhoods. She also said that they are the ones that are going around killing Americans. Trying to find that post. She said the United States was hoodwinked by Qatar. She says the United States of Qatar, jihad is our way. Mark Levin. She's getting together with somebody else to make sure that this Muslim Brotherhood gets designated as such. This woman, I mean, she claims to be an investigative journalist, but what she really is a political activist and a pro-Israeli propagandist. That's it. That's all she does on this page. She is now going after James Fishback, who is running for governor in Florida, a Republican. And Byron Donalds is also, I believe, running for the governor of Florida as well, and who President Trump endorsed. Now, for some reason, not only did she go after Marjorie Taylor Greene, but now she's starting to go after James Fishback, who probably does not agree with taking, I would say, AIPAC money, because this is what he said. Byron Donalds is a slave to his corporate donors. It's the truth, and I will never apologize for telling the truth. And then she says, I'd advise against calling the Trump-endorsed Black GOP congressman running for governor of Florida a slave. This will not play well. Byron Donalds is not a slave. He is a highly accomplished congressman, and I have never seen him use identity politics. The rhetoric that she uses to make sure to slam this James Fishback for posting this. I mean, is this what she does? Like all day long? She tries to dig up dirt on these people, probably that do not back Israel. This is what she does. Sorry. All right, had something on the stove. So this is what she does. She goes around looking for dirt from people that probably do not back Israel. There is a special election going on in Tennessee, and Matt Van Epps is a Republican running for Mark Green's seat in the 7th district for Congress. And she doesn't say anything about him because he's pro-Israeli. So mum's the word with him and the other candidate as well. I don't see her saying anything about the squad. She goes after the Republicans, even though she's a Republican. She doesn't go after the Democrats. She goes after the Republicans. Okay. I'm not sure I can make sense of that. Not really sure. But the rhetoric that she uses, first she called him Trump endorsed. Then she called him black. And then she uses the word slave. This is identity politics, right? You know what she's trying to say here by she's the one that is making all these crazy connections and trying to I don't know, give a bad name to James Fishback, because this is what the Zionists do. Just like Miriam Adelson with her $20 million is trying to primary out Thomas Massie. She is kind of doing the same thing. Let me see if I can find the post where she says that the Muslim Brotherhood goes around killing Americans. Let me see. Now she makes another one about Thomas Massie. And this is another one where she's playing on words. Thomas Massie just publicly thanked one of his campaign donors who tweeted his thanks to Massie for fighting Jewish child sex trafficker and war hawks. Well, he is Jewish. Epstein is Jewish. That's not, and he also worked for the Israeli government. Documents have just come out to prove that he did have relations with the Israeli government. That is proof. She doesn't talk about those things. She doesn't say anything about that. Not at all. So she doesn't skip a beat and says, don't let Massie and those who support him pretend like their criticism is only about Israel and foreign aid. It's always been about Jews. No, it has not always been about Jews. She's lying. This is propaganda. She's lying. As a matter of fact, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to report the post. Let me see. Let's do hate. I just reported the post. people like this shouldn't be getting away with calling out and targeting certain people like Thomas Massey, Marjorie Taylor Greene, now Fishback, what's his first name? The Republican who is running against or is running for governor. And she's now targeting him as well. Oh, she has some new posts here. I mean, what? Oh my God. Let me see what she's got. I didn't see this. I did see this. So this is pinned. That's why I saw this first. So this was about now an hour ago. Senate Democrats are angry that Elon Musk and I effectively exposed corrupt activist leftist judges who have engaged in a judicial coup. Interesting tidbit in the Freedom of Information Act request filed with the DOJ by Senate Dems on threats against federal judges. They're requesting any records related to threats to specifically mention Elon Musk or Laura Loomer. Of course, that's why she did it. Musk, of course, has been a leading voice in calls to impeach judges. Oh, so the Senate Democrats are angry at her and Elon Musk for effectively exposing corrupt activist leftist judges who have engaged in a judicial coup. Really? Like, who are they? How come she hasn't said anything about it? American Statecraft Program, that's not nothing. Politics is going to be boring as hell when Trump leaves in 2028. He is so funny. Pro-CCP and pro-Iran are now thanking Marjorie Taylor Greene. Oh, there she is with Marjorie Taylor Greene now. Earlier this year, Congresswoman Anna Paulina Luna called for Code Pink to be investigated for their alleged financial ties to the CCP via Neville Roy Singham, who has been accused of funding the anti-ICE LA riots this year. Such a bad look for Trader Green, aligning with the enemies of America to dunk on Israel. Okay, it's got everything. And Israel, of course. This is it. She likes President Trump because he's pro-Israel, because he's a Zionist like herself. It's always Israel that's in the midst of all this. Not only does Congresswoman Maria Salazar, advocate of illegal aliens from Venezuela to stay in the United States in direct opposition to President Trump's immigration policies, but now she is calling for U.S. intervention and full-blown regime change in Venezuela, home to the world's largest oil reserves and rare earth mineral reserves. She said, "We're about to go into Venezuela. This comes as Maduro has called for peace and Venezuelans have been holding countrywide anti-war protests. President Trump campaigned on no wars. He is a peace president. Salazar is not advocating for peace." But no, what she's saying is that she thinks President Trump is going to go in Venezuela. She didn't say that she wanted President Trump to go in. She's saying that he's thinking of going in. Yeah, another play on words by Laura Loomer. Let's see. Hilarious. Okay. It's now live. Thank you, Ron DeSantis. Okay. Let's see. The Chinese embassy in the U.S., which openly supports the CCP, is now promoting Hassan Piker. Piker openly campaigned with Mamdani. Oh, now she's going to go after Mamdani. Another example of the red-green axis operating in real time. It's really funny seeing Gorka gaslight those of us who are pointing out Qatar's deep influence on the Muslim Brotherhood and the fact that Qatar and Turkey are exempt from the Muslim Brotherhood executive order. He's using Dubowitz from FDD as his expert to make people simmer down over Qatar. In the tweet, Ironically, Gorka tells everyone to read an article by Mark and his colleague Miriam Waba. I have nothing against them, and I respect FDD and the work that they do. But let's not forget that it was Miriam Waba who published an article in June of 2025 outlining how Qatar is the head of the Muslim Brotherhood. Here's a screenshot. Laura Loomer. It didn't even mention any of the Muslim Brotherhood 501c3a that are operating on U.S. soil. As always, I guess we will not see any enforcement against these people, even though the Holy Land, Foundation terrorism trial makes it very clear which groups operating on U.S. soil are Muslim Brotherhood entities. I hate how we are being told this is a designation too when it's proposal for a 75-day review process. Yeah, this is never going to end with Laura Loomer. Never. And when you scroll down to her, on her page, when you keep scrolling down, she targets Marjorie Taylor Greene. And I find her page to be a propagandist page that only highlights pro-Israeli messages. That's it. She's not a journalist, and let alone an investigative one. She is she is from Florida. She ran, I believe, for Congress in Florida a few years back. She lost. And this boy who turned 16 in prison in Israel is from Florida and was born in Florida and is an American citizen and is being held without no trial, no evidence, no nothing against this poor kid. Because he was visiting in the West Bank, and they rounded him up and beat him up. The Israeli government, or the IDF, rather. She doesn't say anything about that. She doesn't say anything about Mike Huckabee from the Trump administration who went to meet with a traitor. She doesn't say anything about that. She doesn't say a lot of things. It's one-sided reporting. And she only reports on what she's concerned with, especially if it has anything to do with Israel. She is a Zionist. She is Israel first. She is not America first. And the reason why she likes President Trump is because he is a Zionist and Israel first as well. That's why. Because if he wasn't, she would not be there. She would be targeting him as well. That's exactly what she would be doing, just like she's doing to the others. I don't know what kind of page that woman has where she goes around doing these things. Thomas Massie, now the other Republican that is running for governor in Florida, now she's going after him. She has gone after Marjorie Taylor Greene, and she continues to do so. And she is now talking about criticizing President Trump and the 75-day review on the Muslim Brotherhood. She doesn't like that. Doesn't like any of those things. She's used to running the show. She wants what she wants. That's it. That's all. That's all she cares about. And I think people that follow her need to start asking questions about her posts, what she's engaging in. Is she Israel first? Is she a Zionist? Because she is. And the very people that she associates with. She will not associate with any Arab, let alone a Palestinian or a Muslim. No, they're enemies. For Israel and the Zionists, they are enemies. Just like this little boy here from Florida. She doesn't say anything about that. And like I said, I don't know what kind of person she is, but I can say I don't think she has any conscience at all. And not to speak up for this poor kid. But I am. And I will continue to do so. and talk about the hypocrisy of the Zionists and how our tax dollar money keeps going to Israel for committing atrocities on innocent people, especially a 15-year-old who turned 16 in prison for no apparent reason. It's uncalled for, and the president needs to do something about it. And I don't understand why nothing's being done about it. What has taken so long from our allies, our close allies that like us so much, that they keep this boy because he is a Muslim and he was at the West Bank, because he was in Palestine. Does anybody else really like what is happening here? And in our taxpayer money, Americans paying for this. Nobody has really said anything about this kid so far, other than a senator and some articles. But mainstream media and the Zionists that like to say they pull the strings don't say anything about him. I wonder why. You probably know why. So anyway, I want to just bring that to your attention. You have a good day. Bye-bye.